Hello everyone, I'm happy to meet you all. Hope you all are safe at home. I am Lakshmi Devi, IGNOU Counselor. I deal with BEGE 102, the structure of modern English. BEGE 102 has 8 blocks. Phonetics and first 2 blocks deal with the phonetics and phonology. 3rd and 4th block deals with morphology. 5th and 6th block deals with the syntax, that is sentence structure. 7th one with compound and complex sentences, and the 8th one with the noun phrase and verb phrase. I'm going to deal with these topics briefly in 5 classes, each class for around 40 minutes. First session on phonetics, second on morphology, third on syntax, fourth on compound and complex sentences, and the fifth one on noun phrase and the verb phrase. Starting with block 1. Hope you all have read the blocks to do your assignment. So you can recollect my question, the answer for my question. What is phonetics and phonology? So phonetics is the study of sounds and is concerned with the production, audition and perception of sounds, speech sounds, which are called phones. Phone means sound. Phonology, phone means sound, logos means study. Okay, this phonology describes the way sounds function with a given language and operates at the level of sound system and abstract sound units. In first case, we should know why we have to study this topic in English. I have a question for you here. In which countries English is the first language and in which countries English is the second language? So, yes, in the countries like UK and USA, English is the first language, and obviously in India and in countries like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and Nigeria, it is the second language. Learning any language as a second language needs conscious effort on the sound system of the language. We know there are 4 skills for every language. LSRW, L for listening, speaking, R for reading, W for writing. So first comes listening. We listen to the sound system of the language initially. So a sound system has to be known or inculcated for any to learn any language as a second language. Coming to English, we are aware that unlike Indian languages, there is no one-to-one correspondence between spelling and pronunciation of English. Let us do a small example here. Take a pen and paper and write the words and read them aloud, the words which I am going to say. After writing them, read them aloud. First one is bough, B-O-U-G-H. Second one is bought, B-O-U-G-H-T. Third one is C-O-U-G-H. Fourth, D-O-U-G-H. D for Delta, D-O-U-G-H. Next one is H-I-C-C-O-U-G-H. Next, R-O-U-G-H. Next one, T-H-R-O-U-G-H. And the last one is T-H-O-R-O-U-G-H. First 2 words I have already said the word out. So let us see how we pronounce these words. First one is bow. It's not a bow and the one like how the dog barks. And BOUGH is the branch, a branch of a tree. Next one is bot, and that is past tense of buy. Next one is cough, um, cough, and next one is dove. Um, dove is one with which we make chapati, and hiccup, hiccup, yes, and rough, through, thorough. Here we can see that OUGH, which is common in all these words, is pronounced differently in each word. So this is a small example to say that it is very much important or necessary to learn the pronunciation of English language. Actually, this is where a second language learner in English finds very difficult in acquisition of the language. So please open on Google organs, diagrams of speech organs and IPA chart, that is International Phonetic Alphabet, and follow my explanation. I'm sorry I cannot show it to you. It is available when we all meet on Google Meet. So as this is a pre-recorded video, I'm unable to show them to you. So you can see here there are three groups of body organs involved in the production of speech. If you look at the diagram, organs of speech diagram. The three groups are: number one, the respiratory, where lungs, bronchial tubes, and the windpipe or trachea fall under this group, and the phonatory, that is the larynx, where it is situated here, larynx and voice box, and third one is the articulatory system, where nose, please follow, look at the parts on the diagram: nose, lips, mouth, teeth and tongue also come under mouth. So three groups are involved in production of speech. So coming to the chart, IPA chart, phonemic chart. Coming to the division of English sounds, how many letters are there in English? 26. So together we call them, these 26 letters together we call them English alphabet. These 26 letters represent 44 sounds in the received pronunciation. Received pronunciation means which is used by educated English speakers. In the IPA chart, that is International Phonetic Chart, Alphabet Chart, or the phonemic chart, we can see, if you can count the number of sounds, the symbols on the chart, we can see that there are 44 in number. And look at the categories they are divided into. If you look at the basic division, these 44 sounds are divided into 20 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sounds. Vowel sounds are again divided into monophthongs and diphthongs. Monophthongs are also called as pure vowels. And 12 monophthongs and 8 diphthongs. And these symbols are used to transcribe the sounds of any language, not only English. In English, we have two kinds of transcriptions. One is broad or phonemic transcription, on which we are going to concentrate, as a beginner. And the second one is phonetic transcription or a narrow transcription. Phonology encompasses segmental and suprasegmental features. Vowels and consonants, what we see on the chart, these command are segmental features, and intonation, stress, and rhythm all together can also be called as prosody, fall under suprasegmental features. For a student who is learning English as a second language, um, suprasegmental features comparatively, uh, suprasegmental features are more important than segmental features. But this is applicable when we learn any second language, because the meaning varies with the change in intonation or change in stress of the words in the sentence or in the rhythm. So we can conclude that they impart meaning to the sentence in addition to the actual sentence, what we speak or what we write. What is under intonation? We have to know, and in suprasegmental features, under intonation, we have to know what is pitch. Pitch is the frequency. Yeah, in the mouth parts we can see there are vocal cords, and in between is the glottis. Okay, when these vocal cords come close together or go wide apart, the glottis, that is the space between these vocal cords, either narrows or widens. Depending on this, the frequency varies. When it narrows, the frequency is more, and when it widens, the frequency is less. So this frequency of the vibration of the vocal cords, that means the number of times they open and close in a second, this is called pitch. And the rise and fall of pitch is called intonation. Intonation is again of basically three types. The falling tone, or we call it as glide down, rising tone or glide up, uh, falling rising tone or dive. Falling tone is denoted by an oblique, like this. In practice sessions, or when I show you with examples, I will show them to you. And with the rising tone, it's an up, glide up, and falling rising tone maybe can be on one single word or on different words. Now let's come into the first one, the falling tone, where we use it. Before that, we should know that there are two types of questions, that is WH questions and yes/no questions. Imperatives, commands and requests, and question tags, where when the speaker expects the listener to agree with them, and or gives the option to the listener to disagree with him. So keeping this in mind, the falling tone, the falling tone is used in ordinary statements, generally a complete statement, and WH questions, exclamations or exclamatory sentences, and commands, and question tags. Number 4, question tags, where the speaker expects the listener to agree with them. So falling tone is used on ordinary statements, number 1, questions, exclamations, WH questions, exclamations, imperatives, that is, those are commands, and question tags, where the speaker expects the listener to agree with him or her, and rising tone or glide up. This is used in incomplete statements. Incomplete statements, number 1, 2, yes/no questions, 3. Polite requests. And question tags. Number 4 is question tags, where the listener, uh, where the speaker gives option to the listener to disagree with him or her. Third one is falling rising. This is used for special implications where when we cannot imply something verbally, implications not verbally expressed. Next comes word stress. Word stress can also be called as accent. When we say a sentence, not all the words in a sentence and not all the syllables in a word are stressed. In phonology, this stress or accent is making is making a certain syllable in a word or to a certain word in a sentence or a phrase prominent. Uh, the prominent syllable is said loudly with increased pitch. We can also say that pitch initiation takes place on the stressed syllable. One more quality of the stressed syllable is the vowel length in the syllable is long. If, for example, the word afternoon, it has 3 syllables. Afternoon. Among these 3 syllables, the third syllable is getting stressed, and we can observe that the noun is a long, the vowel is a long vowel. Afternoon. We have 2 kinds of stress: primary stress and secondary stress. Now, let us briefly discuss about word stress. We follow certain rules for the word stress. First one, a functional shift in the stress. When the word is used as a noun or an adjective, stress falls on the first syllable, and when the word is used as a verb, stress falls on the second syllable. If we take a word, for example, if we take a word called perfect, if it is a noun, it should be pronounced as perfect. And for a verb, perfect, perfect, noun, perfect, verb, perfect, noun, perfect, verb. Similarly, let us take another example: record, record, noun, record, verb, record, noun, record, verb. Now another rule is words with weak prefixes are accented on the root word. If we take an example, alone or befall. So the loan is the root word, and the prefix to that word is a. So the stress falls on l, loan. In befall, be, be is a weak prefix, and fall is the root word. So the stress falls on the sound fall. That is a syllable. Coming to words ending in ion, ic, ical, ically, ial, ially, ious, ian. Um, all these are suffixes. Words ending with these suffixes, stress falls on the syllable preceding the suffix. Example, take specific. Specific. So it's a 3-syllable word. Stress falls on second syllable. Specific. Tropical. This is a 3-syllable word. First, stress falls on the first syllable. Tropical. Typically, it's a 4-syllable word, the stress falls on the first syllable. So here we can see that in specific, IC is the suffix. In tropical, uh, uh, ICAL is the suffix, and ICALLY is the next is the suffix in typically. And let us take three more example. Partial. Partial. It's a two-syllable word. Stress falls on the first syllable. Partially. It's a three-syllable word. Stress falls on the first syllable. Cautious. Two-syllable word. Stress falls on the first syllable. Now, when we see that, we see that in these words, syllables are divided. Generally, syllables are divided with a dot, and in the words partial and partially, if we take example partial and partially, the number of syllables increased with a change in the suffix, but stress remained on the same syllable, that is on the syllable preceding the suffix. If you transcribe the word, then we can easily see how the stress is falling on the syllable according to the rule. Now, words ending with ION, we have stress on the penultimate syllable. Penultimate syllable means the last syllable is ultimate and the one before that is penultimate. Last second one, last third one will become anti-penultimate. So the last second is penultimate. Take an example, division. Division, it's a three-syllable word. Stress falls on the middle syllable. Division. Assumption. Assumption, it's again a three-syllable word. Stress falls on the middle syllable. Now, words ending with ITY, CARY, GRAF, and LOGY, we can see that the stress falls on the anti-penultimate syllable, that is the last third. From last, if we see last one is ultimate, before that is uh, penultimate, and the last third is anti-penultimate. Take example, atrocity. Atrocity, it's a four-syllable word. Stress falls on the second syllable. Bureaucracy, it's again a four-syllable word. Stress falls on the second syllable. Photograph, it's a three-syllable word. Stress falls on the first syllable. And biology, biology, it's biology, and the stress falls on the second syllable. It's a four-syllable word. Now, coming to stress on compound words. You all know what are compound words when we merge two words together to form a single word. Not only two, it can be more than two. In compound words, stress may fall on. Here I am confining to only two-element word formed from two elements, that is two words. So when a word is formed from two elements, stress may fall on either first element or the second element. In nouns, stress falls on the first part of the word. If we take an example, blackbird, it's a particular bird. It's a particular bird. White House, you know what is a White House, where the president stays, US. And adjectives. In adjectives, the stress falls on the second part. If we take the same example, blackbird, if we say blackbird, it can be any bird which is black in color. In the same way, blackboard, any board which is black in color, we are describing the color of the bird there. So stress is falling on the second part. Coming to the verbs, stress falls on the second part. Now the third part in the prosody is rhythm. Now we have two kinds of words in English. That is, before going into the main thing, you should know what are structural words and content words. So in English, we have content words or lexical words, and structural words or functional words. Nouns, main verbs, adjectives, adverbs, demonstratives, interrogative pronouns come under content words or lexical words. Uh, Demonstratives are this, that, these, those, here, there, and interrogative pronouns are WH words, what, which, who, whom, whose, and under functional words we have articles, auxiliary verbs, prepositions, conjunctions, relative and personal, personal and relative pronouns. Articles a and the, auxiliary verbs am is, are, was, were, do, does, has, had, etc. Prepositions, you know there are many prepositions, at, for, whom, of, etc. Conjunctions are those words which combine two sentences like and, as, but, or, and many other are there. Personal and relative pronouns, we can see words like you, me, him, her, they, them. So we do not stress all the words in a sentence. Only the content words in a sentence are stressed, and as the meaning says, that most of the content of the sentence or most of the meaning of the sentence can be conveyed by the content words. We follow a certain rhythm when we stress content words, which means stressed syllable tend to occur at regular intervals of time. So we can call English as a stress time language. For example, let us take an sentence for an example. We we can meet tomorrow. You can take a pen and paper and write the sentence down. We can meet tomorrow. When we write this sentence, the stress falls on we, meet. Tomorrow is a three-syllable word, and the stress falls on the middle syllable. So here we can um, see that the stress falls on we, meet, more, more. So the rhythm in this sentence is stressed, that is we, unstressed, can, again stressed, that is meet, unstressed, to, stressed, more, and unstressed, or, tomorrow. So stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed is the rhythm of this sentence. Now these structural words or functional words have two forms, strong form and weak form. If you take an example, the, we pronounce it as the with the long e, and before a vowel, and the before a consonant. What is a syllable? Words are made up of one syllable or more than one syllable. So we have monosyllabic words, disyllabic words, trisyllabic words, and polysyllabic words. If the word is made up of one syllable, it is monosyllabic, two syllables, it is disyllabic. More than two syllables is called polysyllabic. Monosyllabic, we have an example like street, eye, kite, and disyllabic, it is haunted, between, lovely. Trisyllabic, consonant, register, episode. Polysyllabic, photography, electricity. Yes. And now coming to syllable structure. Generally, it is consonant, vowel and consonant represented as C, V, C. First C is called a releasing consonant or onset, and vowel is nucleus of the syllable, and after vowel the consonant is called arresting consonant or closure. If you take a simple example as book, it is a one syllable word with three speech sounds or phonemes, three phonemes, and the structure is C, B, C. A syllable which is arrested by a consonant is called a closed syllable, and a syllable which is not arrest, which has no arresting consonant is called an open syllable. For closed syllable, we can take the same example, book. We see three speech sounds, b, u, k. So last one is a consonant, so there is an arrest at the end. Whereas if you take the word called fee, F-E-E, fee, the fee what we pay. So it is also a monosyllabic word with the two phonemes and E. So E is a vowel sound. Vowel sound. So this becomes an open syllable. Next, coming to what is a syllabic consonant. Syllabic consonant. Now let us take the words, write down these words: sudden, cotton, cattle, setting. All the words are disyllabic words, and with the syllabic structure, if you transcribe the word, the syllabic structure is CB, CB, two syllables. If you transcribe the words, you can understand my explanation in a better way. When we look at the transcription, or if you look at the transcription, the last sound in the words, that is in the second syllable, the last phoneme, is either or l, which are consonants. But in syllable structure, we represent it with V, which is a vowel. This is because the second syllable, this is because in the second syllable, the second phoneme, which is actually a consonant, act as a vowel. So they are called syllabic consonants. We have to understand that every syllable has a vowel sound. A syllable may not have a consonant sound, but every syllable has a vowel sound. But if you actually transcribe here, there is no, in the second syllable, there is no vowel sound, but still we write it as CV, because these consonant sounds, that is n and l, they act as vowels. So this happens because is a nasal sound and l is a lateral phoneme, which allows some amount of air to escape through the nose and lateral sides of the tongue respectively. When you say some amount of air pushes out through nose, whereas l from the lateral sides in the oral cavity, some amount of, even though this consonant blocks the air to escape through the oral cavity, still some amount of air escapes. So um, uh, that's why they exhibit a vowel quality. It is possible to have up to 3 consonants before a nucleus, that is before vowel, and up to 4 consonants after the nucleus. If we take the general formula now, we can write it as C3, B and C4, which means before vowel we can there is possibility of occurring three consonants in a sequence, and after the vowel there is possibility of occurring four consonants in a sequence. But this is not the formula for all the words. Now coming to a consonant cluster. Consonant cluster. So just now we said there a sequence of consonants can occur before vowel and after the vowel. Before vowel it is 3 and after the vowel it is 4. And this, because they are occurring in sequence, it is called cluster. And when this cluster occurs before a vowel, it is called initial cluster, and after the vowel it is um, uh, final cluster, final consonant cluster. Let us take an example. uh, Closet. It's a disyllabic word. CLOSET. Closet. Disyllabic word. And the syllabic structure for this is CCV for first syllable, CVCC for the second syllable. I repeat, CCV for the first syllable and the CVCC for the second syllable. So this particular word has both initial cluster and the initial consonant cluster and the final consonant cluster.